Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
I remember that I used to watch a lot of Rahul sir's video at the time of my preparation before the exam, as well as during my interview preparation as well, and it really used to help me fight my anxiety to a bit.
Yes.
That matters to me the most whenever I'm onto some project, is that I'm getting to whether I'm getting to learn some new things.
New. Okay, so hi everybody, welcome to Real Humans of Bschool, and we are in conversation with Rohan, who is from MDI Gurgaon. Welcome on board, Rohan.
Thank you so much, Anisha. It's really a pleasure to be here. I remember that I used to watch a lot of Rahul sir's video at the time of my preparation before the exam, as well as during my interview preparation as well, and it really used to help me fight my anxiety to a bit.
Yes.
That gets built up during that time.
I'm sure it's always good to hear people who've done and who've cracked. It kind of inspires. I'm sure we are going to make sure your video today is going to be an inspiration for the rest of them to, crack their CAT exam up.
It will be an honor. Thank you so
Awesome.
much for having me here.
Awesome, great. So tell me, what was your journey like, Rohan, at MDI this first year? How has it been for you?
It's been amazing. To be honest, it gets a little intimidating at the beginning. If I describe my first day at the Bschool, I'm standing there. I know I have finally landed where I have dreamt to be. If not for my whole life, then at least for the past 1 year since I've been preparing at least. And secondly, there's a different kind of positive vibe that you feel within yourself. You know that you're surrounded. Within the next few days, you will be introduced, and you'll be making friends with some of the best minds in the country.
Correct.
And you're around hundreds of people who, if at least not smarter, then at least are as smart as you are. They're at least
Absolutely.
as deserving as you are, and they've all worked very hard. They're all very deserving to be where they are today. So it's been great. The learning has been great. I'm really enjoying the courses that I get to study, being a part of a B school. I happen to be an engineer, so most of the courses, they are entirely new for me.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
apart from that, one of the great things is the people that you get to meet in a B school. I've made some of the best friends in my life here at MDI. And another thing is that you really get to follow some of your interests as well as hobbies into also while you're at a B school.
I think you guys
It's
have a
been good.
really beautiful campus, which, like acres of land, and I remember seeing the football ground and all of them. It's like really beautiful. So do you guys actually
It's
explore that?
so we do that a lot. So the campus, it becomes, there's a different kind of liveliness that emerges, especially after the evening during the night time, because
Yeah.
most of the people, they get free from their classes, and then once they are done with the caseworks and all of their assignments, so there's a night canteen that we have right in the middle of the college, and most of the people, especially when the weather is good, right, they are in a
Yeah.
habit of taking, like long rounds of the college. So you can see, especially during the night time or even after the midnight, you can see many people strolling around the campus, and people are moving in groups, and so many people, they are chit-chatting around, sitting and passing their time, gossiping in the night canteen that we have. People
Interesting.
sipping their coffee. So it's great.
Oh, I've heard a lot about it. My brother was from the same campus. So, your night canteen, I think that's where you celebrate all your birthdays and everything as well.
Right. It's very famous. Yeah.
Lovely. That's really
It's a
nice.
meetup point in the campus.
So, like you mentioned, like it's pretty intimidating in the start, and I definitely agree to it. Like, you coming from an engineering background, everything is so new and so different. Plus,
Yeah.
when you get into an MDI, you crack it, you feel like on top of the world. I have made it to the best college, and when you go inside, it's like everybody is a topper out there. So, how do you cope with all of that? Because you, at the same time, have the pressure to do well in your academics in the first sem, Plus you got to make like you made your best of friends. So how do you make sure that you are best friends plus you're competing as well?
Right. So, it takes time, and everybody has a different pace. Everybody has a different kind of a skill set. Everybody is carrying a different kind of methodology which works for them, and maybe not for everybody.
Okay.
So, personally speaking, it took probably a longer time for me to adopt to the kind of environment that I was into, and all of those things, they eventually come to you, and they come as a learning to you. You'll make mistakes. I mean, there's no running away from mistakes.
Correct.
And I think one of the first learning that came to me while trying to cope up and adopt to the new environment that I was into was the importance and criticality of time management and prioritizing things. Because when you
Very
start your
true.
journey at a B school, you are literally thrown away by a huge, like literally a tide of so many things that are new for you, and that is something that requires a certain level of effort as well as time dedication for you,
Correct.
and it becomes very important for you to prioritize all of those things. Like, there are so many extracurricular activities that are going around you. There's so many corporate talk series that are going around you, right? At the same time, at the beginning of your journey, you have to start preparing for your summer internships also, because they're literally just down the corner. Then the classes start, and you feel that, I mean, coming from an engineering background, there's a different kind of strictness that you get to see in these classes.
Yes.
No, there's a different kind of discipline that is followed. You have to complete all your assignments. You have to be prepared for your surprise quizzes, which might happen at any point of time. You have to go prepared with the cases before every lecture, and you have to be
Yeah.
on time for everything.
And at
And
the
then you
same
have to
time
have your
you
proper
have
sleep also.
to
So yeah,
like you mentioned, there are like pre-reads and case studies and all of them which you have to be pre-prepared for. And I'm sure you got a lot
exactly.
of sleep management sessions also out there, because you barely get time to sleep in the V school.
Exactly, exactly. So this is something that I was frankly not very much prepared with before I entered. But yeah, it came pretty hardly on me that yeah, you don't get to sleep very much, especially during the initial few months, because it takes time for anybody out there to get
Adapting.
used to that kind of a rigor. Yeah.
Correct.
And I mean, apart from the basic things like the academic and the classes, there's so many other things also that interest and attract you. Like, there would be so many clubs and committees, work that would be going around, and you would be willing to participate in them. So that again adds up to the pressure. Then there's so many case competitions, which obviously is something new to everyone out there,
Yes.
but you feel that urge to participate and learn that, okay, what do I actually get off by participating in these competitions? Then when you interact with so many different people, you see that everybody is coming from a different background altogether. You see that there are people who have already worked as managers in some companies, or some big organizations,
Yes.
and you can get to learn so much from them. So
So do you
it
think,
could get
Rohan,
hard in the
do you think it's
yeah.
important to be a part of these committees and all of them? Does it add value?
I think it does. I mean, you know, speaking in a, I mean, if you think that it adds any tangible value to it, I don't think that you should be thinking in that sort of a manner, because, frankly speaking, there's a different kind of dynamic that, being a part of a club and committee carries when you go to different B schools.
Yeah.
I've heard about people having their experiences in their clubs and committees from different B schools. But if I talk about my B school, uh, see, definitely, I mean, looking from a CV point of view, it definitely gives you that, POR that you can add in
Yeah.
your CV, and definitely it helps you to make your CV look better. Speaking from the other, intangible angle, it's good for making more friends. It's good for expanding your network, because when you get to be a part of a club or committee, you get to work with so many people closely, and it's a
Yes.
different learning that you get being a part of a group which is organizing events in your college, which the whole college is participating in. Even people from outside the campus, they're willing to be a part of those fests or those events
True.
which you are organizing. For example, I am a part of the cultural committee at MDI, and
Okay.
we organize almost all the festivals that happen within the country. Right from Pongal to Ganesh Chaturthi to Holi, Diwali, all of the
Wow.
festivals we organize. So it's a different kind of experience that you get to learn, and especially, I mean, you're making more friends. You're making friends with the senior
Yes.
batch also. You're making friends within your batch also. So
It, I
it
think,
isn't bad
also
to
keeps
candidate
you on
interest.
your toes all throughout.
Definitely, definitely. So you need something to get off from your academic pressure also, right?
Yes, that's lovely. So
Right.
another thing, Rohan, that comes to my mind is, a lot of people always say that Gurgaon is not safe, and all of that which comes to it. So what do you feel that, is it, has that completely changed the scenarios, or you still have those kind of fear that, if I'll go off campus, something might just happen?
Uh, I beg to differ. I mean, I might be having a biased view here because I am a Delhiite. I have been born and raised here from the beginning itself. And so obviously Gurgaon happens to
True.
be my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so thankfully, I never have felt that way that it happens to be unsafe or so. And especially if you're talking about MDI, the MDI is located, at the very center of Gurgaon. Uh,
Correct.
all the localities, all the hangout places that are there in Gurgaon, all the famous places, they're literally, like a couple of kilometers away. That's it. So whenever you are in the mood of hanging out with your friends or partying with your friends, you don't have to go too far.
Yes.
And secondly, this thing that you have to keep in your mind that you have to get back on the campus on time as well because uh, you you have to log in with your ID whenever you get inside the campus. You have to
Okay.
check in. You have to make an entry in the register. So that is also something that keeps going on in your mind. So you
Okay.
know that you have to come back in a
Reasonable time.
safe manner. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. That's good to hear because I don't know, somehow it always comes across to a lot of people that Gurgaon is still not safe. Though definitely what you mentioned, and I personally see I've visited the campus of late as well, and you guys are like right in the center with all the possible good places to chill around, always there.
Right.
And
Right.
how about
I
your
mean, if you want
placements?
to, yeah, sorry, I didn't get the
So how
last part.
about your placements? Like, Rohan, when it comes to like for engineers, it's always a
Yeah.
different sector. You want to either go to a marketing or a finance. It's changing the sector. So how is the placements process for you at MDI?
Placement process was a little daunting, to be honest. I mean, especially as you mentioned, coming from an engineering background, and I'm not the only one. There are many people who
Yeah.
come from an engineering background. Now they're trying to enter, they're trying to grab a job in marketing. I mean, an internship in marketing or finance, which is a completely different field altogether. So first of all, I think the most important part is your interest. You should really be interested in what you really want to get into. I've seen people who, despite of coming from an engineering background, have already cracked CFA level 1 or level 2. People who are really interested in getting into finance, or they already know a lot about finance because they take up online certifications, online courses, and other things. So they already know a lot about finance. So that shows in the level of preparation that they carry out, and the level of confidence that they carry within themselves.
Correct.
And secondly, I mean, the best part of B school is your seniors and your batchmates. They really help you out a lot. I mean, personally speaking, when we started off at MDI, this was the first thing that was imbibed within the whole batch altogether. That all of you guys, you happen to be one batch, and you
Yes.
have to help out each other. You have to be the backbone of each other, not just here but forever. You've actually been bonded together now, and this bond is going to remain forever. And
That's
that
lovely.
really, I mean, you don't realize that in the initial few days, but then at times, at testing times like these, especially when the internship,
Hmm.
the summer placement process is going on, you realize that your friends, to what extent they're willing to go out to help you out, to prepare you, to what extent your seniors are always running after you to try to make your CV better,
Yes.
iterations after iterations, you're making a CV, you're preparing yourself for that PI, you're preparing yourself for the GDs. So yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of supportive environment altogether, and it does become daunting, but you'll sail through,
Awesome. That's
definitely.
really, I love the way you said it. Like, yes, it is daunting, but you have your support, you have your peers around you to,
Right.
make you sail through entire thing. I'm sure it would have been the same case for even the subjects. Like, what was the most challenging subject for you in the first semester?
Don't even ask. uh, I remember, I mean, if I talk about the first term, then I was able to manage most of the subjects, but business statistics was one which was really a nightmare for me. I still don't know how I was able to pass the subject.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm very sure I still won't be able to solve even a single question if I get it right now. But yeah, that was the most challenging subject, even after coming from an engineering background, mind you. And I'm
Yeah.
very confident about my quantitative skills, by the way. But yeah, was not
Okay,
able to
that's
understand that
yeah. You
subject.
have a lot of those techniques, that's ANOVA techniques and all of them, which kind of
Yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
throws
yeah.
you at like what the hell is up to.
Right, right. So people might tend to take that subject lightly कि चल ठीक है first semester में है and then
Hmm.
you'll get over it. But then it becomes very important, especially for the guys who want to get into a field like marketing research or those sort of things, because
True.
all the research methods that you use later on in your job profile, you'll have to know all those methods and
Those
methodologies which are
techniques.
used, like Anisha
Absolutely.
just mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how about your internship? Like, what was your internship based on?
Yeah, so I consulted at Brain Capability Network, and so yeah, I mean, seeing the situation around, it was completely virtual, which was literally not expected. I mean, there's
Yes.
so much that you plan and anticipate about before your internships begins, and yeah, you really think that you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that, you're gonna interact with your peers, you're gonna learn from your managers, you're gonna get well with your managers, but that did not happen with our case. It was a special case for us. But despite of that, it was a steep learning curve. I mean, the thing which matters to me the most whenever I'm onto some project is that I'm getting to whether I'm getting to learn some new things
New.
or not. And I got to work on more than one project, and all of them they were quite challenging.
Hmm.
Speaking from my personal perspective, so I really enjoyed that. And secondly, I mean, the kind of feedback, guidance, and support that I got from my mentor all throughout, it was fantastic. Because, tips and some basic tips and nuances that you get from people who have been working in the industry for 10 years or so, they really help you in the longer run, not just for
Correct.
that internship period, but he literally, I mean, I remember he literally used to point some of the things out in my submissions that, if you try to improve this will help you not just here, but in your second year of the college and then for the longer run as well. So I
Correct.
think that was I mean, I really liked the culture and the environment of the company.
That's
So
lovely.
yeah,
That's great to hear. So wish you all the best for further ahead also, Rohan, and keep doing
yeah.
well.